Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the Knife Center. And you want to know what really sends shivers up my spine? Check this out. So by now you may have seen this new unit right here, the WorkSharp Professional Precision Adjuster, the Pro PA. And we thought it'd be a great time to pit this against our other favorite sharpening methods out there. Now, Thomas behind the camera over there has been a longtime fan of the original Precision Adjust right here. So we're gonna let him kind of take you through the improvements they've made to the Pro PA here in a minute, but short story, the bullet points, it's bigger and more stable than the original. You can handle both bigger and far smaller knives than the original. And it's got some other cool quality of life improvements as well, including this small knife table, which lets you hit those really tiny blades, and a nice digital angle finder too, so you can be even more precise. But the cool thing about this system, because it's a clamped guided system, is you don't necessarily have to be a sharpening expert to get some pretty expert results. At least that's what we're gonna try and prove here today. So for our competition, we've got the SE Chirp. Great little affordable knife. It's like 20 bucks, but it comes with D2 steel, because after all, we don't want to make this too easy on ourselves now, do we? The edges have already been ruined, as you can see, by an impartial fourth party to make sure we're starting from scratch. These knives are completely dull. They're not going to even cut string. So we have to reprofile and sharpen these knives with each of our systems. Thomas will be using the Pro PA from WorkSharp, representing the guided clamped systems out there. Seth V, my occasional co-host, will be going old school freehand with water stones, and I'm gonna be going modern with electricity with my knife grinder. And we're gonna see three guys, three different techniques who can get the best edge. We're gonna have an impartial judge at the end once we're done, evaluate what we've done, and we'll see how things stack up. Thomas, here, you take the blue one.
I got the blue.
That's you. I'll take the yellow, and I'll go hand this orange one to Seth. He's over there, other side of the room at the moment. Thomas, why don't you tell the fine people what this sharpener can do?
And here you find me in my garage with a cautiously optimistic project behind me. Not important right now. This is not what you're actually here to see today. This is the WorkSharp Precision Adjust. It is my particular example. I do like it, but I have some notes. First off, and this is just a consequence of its affordability, the build quality is all right. This is 60 bucks for a clamp system sharpener. As such, there's a bit of play where this arm meets the rest of the chassis. A little bit of play going on there. Doesn't really affect the operation. Second, if you've got a particularly large knife, it is more difficult to rotate it around. For example, here's my shun. Either the tip's gonna hit or the handle's gonna hit. Either way, you kind of gotta lift the whole unit. Secondly, this arm, it's not really, well, it is a ingenious setup. It's not really a place to put it. So it just kind of sits off to the side, or I just pop it out entirely, set it aside. That said, this is a pretty cool setup. Three different grits, a 320, a 600, and a fine ceramic. And I get a pretty good edge on my knives, even considering I'm not really that experienced in a sharpener. So for an amateur like myself, this is an excellent product. Additionally, there is an upgrade kit for, I want to say about 80 bucks. I had notes here. There we are. Yeah, so the upgrade kit's 80 bucks. Gets you a carrying case and a couple extra of these arms with more grits on them. Pretty cool setup, but there's drawbacks. So here we've got our upgrade kit. And this addresses a lot of those concerns. A number of grit stones, including a leather strap. We got a much more robust clamp here. The angle guide, we'll get to that later, a small table, and the arm, much beefier. All right, we'll get to the rest of this in detail later. The main unit got this 2-piece base here, and straight away, real estate on this is much bigger. Over here's the upright section, drops in, and then we got a couple of thumb screws to pop that into place on each side there. Solid, feels like aluminum, so much more robust. There is still some plastic, but it's here and there. Our base seems to be some kind of steel, and in that base, we've got mounting holes on each corner. So, and that's going to be very helpful if you want to secure this to a tabletop, like say for instance this cheap vise that I got at a pawn shop. That doesn't move. Nor will this. Let's get back into this kit here, continue our construction of the apparatus. Here is our arm slider, arm slider. Instead of just a magnetic drop-in, we've got, actually, it's threaded. So it's a little more secure there. Nicely done. And let's go ahead and put a grit on here. These are ceramic, not ceramic. There is a ceramic. These are diamond abrasives, and they just drop right onto the slider. Now let's get into how WorkSharp has kind of addressed the issues of the base system. First off, there's no awkward arm issue here, because if you're not using it, it just sits right there. Next up, I'll just leave it there. Next up, say you are sharpening a larger knife, and time comes to rotate it around. Well, you could pick the whole thing up, but if it's secured to the table, you won't be able to. So what they've done, we've got back here a handle. You lift that up, and this whole unit moves. Next up in the box, we've got a much more robust clamp, and there's that nice little trick that the original didn't have here. Still tighten with this this knob here that's in line with everything, but the clamps themselves are spring-loaded. So say you've got a smaller knife like the SE that we'll be sharpening today. You just stick it in there, and before you even tighten it, it is being held, and then you just secure it down, and it doesn't move. Popping the clamp into the unit is very similar. We've got a small lever here that secures it in place. Drop it down to release. Additionally, this lever also secures the rotation. It just straight away feels far more solid than my original, which is still good, but this is, and let's get into that, this is $250 on our website as opposed to the original, which is $60. But I think the upgrades are well worth it, just right away. But what do I know? I'm an amateur. If we're sharpening something on the larger size, we've also got a support that can sit underneath here. Make sure you can sharpen those big knives. Get this little nugget. This guy right here is your angle guide. And this is actually an important consideration here. You still do have the marks on here so that as you adjust up and down, you can get an idea. But if you've got those, what do you need this fancy digital thing for? That's may just increase the cost. Well, the fact is, we gotta think about our high school geometry, or maybe middle school. Maybe you were faster than I am. Whatever. If you've got, say, a blade that is a bit taller than, say, this SE, what you're effectively doing in this triangle setup, you are lengthening one side of your triangle. And when you lengthen one side of a triangle, the opposite angle is going to change. So if your edge ends up here, that angle is going to be different than if your edge is out here. And that right there is a pretty cool way to address that particular issue of geometry. So let's check in with the other guys, see what their setups look like while I organize some stuff as best I can.
So here's how I'm going to sharpen this. Because I need to rebuild the entire edge angle, I need to start with a nice low grit stone to save myself some time. So I'm using this Sharpening 140 grit to get started. For From there, I need to move to refine the edge, so I'm going to use this King Neo stone, 800 grit. And then I don't normally use this next stone, but since we're going to be testing push cut sharpness, I'm going to go all the way up to 2000 grit with my last Shapton. From there, just finish things off with the leather strop.
All right, here we are in my garage, and this is what I'm going to use to sharpen my SE chirp and hopefully beat out Seth and Thomas over there. It's a custom built dual 2x48 inch belt grinder. I've got two arms, as you can see. This one here is kicked down. I've got a worn out 320 grit belt with a heavy backing. You want a nice stiff back for this. I'm going to use that to set my bevel with that on the convex section, and then we'll finish things off on the platen over here with this leather strop loaded with green compound. This is a great unit. Professional knife makers are either using 2x48 inch grinders, or more commonly 2x72 inches is by far the most common length you'll find. These work great, and yes, it is possible to do this and overcook your edge, ruin your temper, but just go slow with this sort of thing. If you need to, feel you need to, you can dunk it in water. But if you don't have something this hardcore, check out the Ken Onion Work Sharp, especially with the blade grinding attachment. I love that unit. Works great. I've sharpened many a knife on it. I love what Work Sharp does, but I kind of want to beat Thomas, even if he is repping Work Sharp in this sharpening video. So let's get into it.
So to start off, you got this nice and dull actually, and to my untrained fingers, feels like there's a bit of edge roll. Yeah, it feels like the edge rolled a little bit towards the show side. So I think we'll start there. Clamp down. And we are ready to roll. Start with our 220, and I do believe it was important we time this, so let me start that now. Okay, we'll start setting our angle, turn on our guide, zero it out on the same surface we're working on, set my arm in place, set the guide on there, and we bring it down to a 20 degree. Now, to start things off, I think we'll go nice and, that's a sound. Important to note, I have never sharpened D2 before. Still a little more at the base. I think he hit some parts of it harder than others. Okay, it seems like we're starting to get a burr there. I think I'm fairly comfortable with that. So, nice new feature, slow it up there, flip it around, and come on down. Okay, move up to our 320 in place, and the progressive grits should not take quite as long as the initial reprofiling. I think we're at that toothy edge that D2 likes to hold and hold forever after just 320 grit. Something I can also adjust is this little rubber grommet here to make sure I don't fall off the edge there. I will say, just the increased travel of this arm, I don't lots of times I don't even need to stow it away. It's just, it's actually out of the way when you can do that. That's nice consideration.
About 2 minutes and 22 seconds to set the bevel. Let's keep going.
Okay, after 15 minutes, I think we're good with the first 2 grits. Yeah, still having trouble with that heel. I hope they ignore that bit. Probably won't. All right, moving on. 600. This is a grit I am familiar with. It's one of the 2 grits on the original. And I tend to spend a lot of time here. So here we are. After 20 passes each side on 600, still a little bit of a toothy edge, but things are starting to refine a little more. Now, if I know Seth at all, I'll have a jeweler's loop or something to look at the edge up close. I don't have one of those. I have an old macro lens though. All right, moving to 800. All right, I feel good about 800 grit. Let's go to fine ceramic, and I think we'll be here a while.
Let's see, that'll be 5 minutes and 5 seconds, provided it's sharp enough and I don't have to keep going.
Man, that actually took no time at all. After this point, what I do with the original is I usually get some water on the blade, and then I'll use that as a somewhat of a lubricant to make sure everything cleans up nice. And what I can end up with sometimes is basically a stone-washed edge. But you know what? 60 strokes on each side with the fine ceramic, and things are looking good. One final step I think we can get into, and that's with the leather strop. It's been preloaded with a green compound. I don't know if it's the standard green compound or different, but it is indeed green. So I'll put that on there, and I think this is where the real value of this price premium comes in, because I am familiar with stropping in principle. Execution, I don't think I'm that good at it. So if it's already, the edge is already figured out for me, I can just do this several times and not worry about a thing. I will actually, with the strop, I don't want any contaminants on there, so I will actually put it away for that.
All right, let's test it. It's nice. Just over 5 minutes to reset the bevel and completely sharpen it, including the time it took to find and reset the camera, reset the belts.
Okay, this may not be the best edge in the world, but I don't care because it is the best edge I've put on a knife at all. 37.5 minutes for me to knock this out, but that's with breaking here and there to manage the cameras. You could easily knock out a really good edge even on D2 steel in the span of a half-hour TV show. But this is a really good setup. I like how they've addressed the issues, especially that right there. That lean, that does a lot for me. I'm leaning towards it, yeah.
All right, we're back in the studio, preparing for judgment, so to speak. Thomas, how easy was it to use the Pro
Incredibly easy.
PA, yeah?
I'm less confident in the heel of my edge, but I'll chalk that up to user error.
Okay, all right. I don't know what you said in your in-garage bit, so I'll ask the question here. How do you like it compared to the standard precision adjust that you've been using pretty much since they came out, or shortly after.
Pretty much, shortly after. I'd say it's worth the upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if you're looking to up your game, and then the original, if you've still got one of those, just gift it.
There you go. Yeah, or gift it, or it's a backup, or you can put it at work if you are the kind of guy that can sharpen a knife at work without getting odd stares.
Basically us.
Basically us. Kitchen folks, perhaps. Although bigger kitchen knives. Anyway, before we hand these knives off to our impartial judge upstairs to see where the Pro PA stacks up from a subjective level, we figured we'd get as objective a result as we could. So we've got our sharpness tester right here. Now these things certainly have their limitations in terms of repeatability and accuracy. So we took several measurements off of each knife and averaged them out. And the results, starting actually, again, these are, I would not stake these as ultra scientific results, but just for what we've got here.
Good enough for us.
Coming in last place, Seth with his orange knife, averaging 208.75 grams of pressure to cut the testing medium right here, which I'm going to say right off the bat is funny because subjectively, when we were passing these around before coming in here to do any of this, I kind of like Seth's edge a lot. He's definitely got the thinnest edge of us, and it feels nice. Feels very nice. Second place is Thomas with the Pro Precision Adjust. 187.25 grams of pressure. And then, in first place, 185.5 grams of pressure for the electric knife grinder. So pretty much neck and neck with the Pro PA right here, which is pretty cool. All of them, as I was hoping we'd shown, achieved fantastic edges. We knew Seth and I were going to do a good edge, but Thomas, with a unit like this, I was pretty sure it was going to get a good edge too. So that's our starting point for a quote-unquote objective measure, even though it's not a fully scientific result. Let's hand it off to our judge. He's a man named Gary, and this is his first time doing something like this. Go easy on him. All right, everyone say hi to Gary.
Hi, Gary.
Gary,
Hi.
what are you here to do?
I'm here to judge.
Excellent. All right, before you, you've got 3 knives, each of them sharpened with a different method.
Okay.
And we'd love to hear your thoughts on the edges. There's some paper here in front of you if you want to take some test cuts. But yeah, you've had a little chance to take a quick look at these. But what do you think of we'll start with the orange one.
Sure.
How's the edge on that guy?
So it's got a slight polish to it, but overall, no burr that I can really feel. Paper test on it.
And this is some nice thin paper here. Thin magazine paper or catalog paper.
Not bad.
Yellow.
Let's take a look. Funny enough, I tore this one up pretty bad, but it actually has somewhat of a factory edge.
Factory edge, you say? Interesting.
Not bad.
But is there an early lead between the first two?
I'd say they're relatively similar. The actually, funny enough, the bevel on the yellow one is a little different from side to side, but not significant. But other than that, both very sharp.
So you'd say the sharpened edge on the orange one's a bit more even?
A bit more even.
Okay.
And then the blue one, looking at it here, is actually, it looks like somebody may have taken and either bent the tip off or rounded it off quite a bit. But other than that, the rest of the edge looks very well done. Very sharp. So even though the tip is rounded a bit, this one was actually, in my opinion, the sharpest.
Very good. Well, that means we have a winner there. I can reveal to you that our one of these was sharpened freehand. One of these was sharpened with a professional grade or similar knife grinder. And the other was sharpened with the WorkSharp Pro Precision Adjust you see right next to you there. If you were to guess which one did the blue knife there that you declared the winner, which would it be?
I would say this one would probably be done with the Work Sharp. It's got a pretty even grind all the way across, and it's pretty sharp. But I've noticed even with my Wicked Edge, I can sometimes get a little close on the tips. So with this style setup, it's very possible to. It's very easy to, I should say.
Very cool. Well, I can reveal to you that you are correct. That one was sharpened with the Work Sharp Professional Precision Adjust by our man behind the camera over here, Thomas.
This whole time I was worried about the heel.
The yellow was sharpened by me on my knife grinder, and the orange was sharpened freehand by Seth on his nice set of Waterstones.
All right.
And we did some sharpness testing, our very unscientific results with an admittedly small sample size. The yellow and the blue were pretty neck and neck, and the orange was slightly behind. But very cool.
Awesome.
Gary, thank you very much for your service.
Thank you.
Everybody say thank you, Gary. Bye, Gary.
It's already gone.
Especially because this is the second take of this outro that we're doing.
Yes.
That's fine. Well, there you have it. That is a cool result. I'm a bit miffed that Thomas's Edge beat me out in the end.
I'm fine with it.
I figured you would be. But how cool is that? I mean, seriously, like Seth and I have both been sharpening edges to a pretty high level for a long time. Like it's ingrained. Like we know, we've got the feel for it. We know what to look for. We know how to progress through it. That is a part of it. Like both he and I were using essentially a freehand system, and there's an art to it. There's a feel to it. And it's cool to have that, but if you don't, you can have something like this professional precision adjust right here and get a result that goes toe-to-toe with what we can do. Now that either says we got some work to do and we should be better, or this unit is just that good. It's probably a blend of both, because Thomas is far from a newbie at this sort of thing, but it's not your primary skill set.
Not my first rodeo.
There you go. The Work Sharp Professional Precision Adjust. It works great whether you are an absolute stone cold newbie, or whether you have a little bit of experience and you want to invest in something really good that's going to get you fantastic results, or you've been doing this a long time and just want some consistency, some precision that you could adjust to your needs.
That's the name of the product.
That's the name of the product, you guys. Really cool. I want to thank Worksharp for sending this over to us. Thanks to Gary, thanks to Thomas and Seth for putting up with this crazy little competition right here. Check the unit out right now. We've got links that'll take you over to our website in the description, where you can pre-order this. Should be shipping in just a couple of weeks from the time this video first goes up. Let me know what you thought down in the comments. Let me know your favorite sharpening regimens as well. And yeah, that's it.
I'm sure they'll have opinions on sharpening. It's the internet.
It is the internet. Really cool stuff, you guys. Really like the unit. Like I said, I'm a big fan of Work Sharp, even though I didn't win. Still a fan. Love you guys. See you later.